But moving on here, I had a story talking about the recently revived Tango Gameworks. We had a whole GameDeveloper.com interview with some of the folks and representatives from Krafton. I believe it was Krafton's CEO, CH, and he was just explaining how they acquired Tango and what was going into it. And it was just a really interesting thought and a really interesting, just conversation. He was like, listen, we can't acquire Tango based on their financials or their numbers. Listen, bottom line, they said, quote, Tango Gameworks are creative. They want to try something new and we want to do more of that. Making video games is really a hit or miss industry, and that is risk taking, but having more project lineups is actually a way to mitigate risk because one of them might actually work out. So, just them, their philosophy and them, like, they're just like their penchant to pick up Tango Gameworks, despite the fact that they know they might not make money for them at first. I thought it was really interesting. So Timi, what'd you feel about some of these comments?
It's an interesting approach, I must admit, but I don't know, like they saying they're not committed to making games, but read that quote back again.
I got you. So basically he said, I'll run down the whole thing. Quote, we can't acquire Tango Gameworks based on their financials or their numbers, right? We don't think Hi-Fi Rush 2 is going to make us money, to be frank, he continues, but it's part of our attempt. We have to keep trying to develop games in the spirit of challenge taking. Tango Gameworks are creative, they want to try something new, and we want to do more of that. Making video games is really a hit or miss industry, and that is risk taking, but having more project lineups is actually a way to mitigate risk because one of them might work out. Right. So yeah, so they're like, hey, listen, they might not make us money, but we know they're a creative powerhouse and we want to have that on our team, and they got them. That was the main motivation behind that pickup. So I thought that was interesting.
So plenty more projects under the belt to make sure that they have something in the works to make it. Okay, I hear it. But I think I don't know, saying that saying that you don't think a game is going to make money is a bit of a downer, no? I'm sure, like, don't get me wrong, you make games to make games, but you also want your game to make money.
That was also true. I would say this. I feel like this whole business, taking on new companies, acquisition, is an assumption of risk. There are inherent risks that you take with picking anything up in business. That's just how it is. And the fact that they're okay with, potentially seeing not crazy financial gain, it shows that, listen, they're prepared to take a risk on something. But two, the fact that the principals guided them to say, yo, listen, we know what talent they have and what they can bring in this space, and that's something we want to inject more into our umbrella, into our studios, into what we do. And the fact that they provided this decision based on, financials that make sense to pick up the studio itself, not necessarily what they can produce potentially, but they're saying, yo, Tango are so creative. Tango have done such good work in the past that we think what they can make, what they can do, the potential of what they are, will give us IPs that are really, really engaging, making a good game, taking that challenge on of making something for us that really engages people, not just the money decision alone, actually assessing the creativity of a studio and what they can provide in terms of their projects and what they can build. Not just the money aspect of, okay, how quickly can you put a battle pass on this motherfucking thing? Like, and this is the same company who owns PUBG. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's right. Interesting to see this take. It's kind of refreshing to see this take, honestly. Somebody to actually assess the creative, the creative upside of these studios, and be very transparent about that. I haven't seen that too often where it's like, yo, we know they might not make us money off the rip. We get that. We only got half of their talent back. We, like, other people found other jobs elsewhere because they were hot commodities, blah, blah, blah. But we believe in what they can create so much. And we believe in the infrastructure that, again, Shinji Mikami helped set, so many other people at that studio helped set, that they can create some dope shit for us, and we're willing to enable their exploits, enable their efforts. I think that is understated, and especially for, again, I did a whole video on this as well. Again, shameless fucking plug, but I love Tango, and the fact that Tango has that representation and that recognition of, yo, what we do, not many other people can do. Because again, they can bust out Evil Within, they can bust out a Ghostwire Tokyo, they can bust out a Hi-Fi Rush in a 10-year period. 3 games that have completely different looks, completely distinct different processes, feels, different directors entirely, different processes. Like, they are really, really flexible when it comes to making a video game. They can go a lot of different ways, and not many people can say that. So the potential to find a spot where it's actually, you know, really like just engaging and is really alluring from a creative standpoint, and people take to it, and it's a place that people haven't been before, that's higher than most in the gaming space with Tango. So the fact that they're taking a chance on that and they're taking a punt on that, I think it's very admirable, and I think it's a strategy that can pay dividends if they are patient enough with Tango. Because if there's anybody who can do what they're saying and what they're asking, it is Tango. They'll just need the time and resources.
Give them time. I think they'll perform. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I agree. And they said the first thing they're doing is Hi-Fi Rush 2, and everybody wants that. So they get it's not necessarily the hardest thing in the world. It's a launching pad. And again, it's not out of their wheelhouse because they've done sequels before. They've done Evil Within 2. They've made that. They've done a similar path to this shit. So I think Tango has found a very, very decent fitting home by the words of what the CEO is saying from Krafton. I think that they found a solid place to develop and you know, flourish under the right constraints and under the right conditions in the gaming space. I'm just glad that they're up and running and in a place where their creativity is fully recognized as something as an asset to the gaming space.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, honestly, man. So shout out Tango, man. Shout out Tango. And